guys, I'm back with another video, this time talking about Pantera and their upcoming reunion tour that's going to start in 2023. First, I want to go over my history, what I know about the band and how I discovered them. I saw their video, Cowboys from Hell, on MTV, thought it was cool, but wasn't really pushed to go out and buy the record. And then a friend of mine, he went out and got the record, and he didn't even start me off with Cowboys from Hell, of course, but he played, I want to say it was either Heresy or Primal Concrete Sledge, and I was hooked. So the first time I saw them, I'm a little hazy on this. I have a ticket stub here, and I feel like this was not the first time I saw them because they opened for someone, and I cannot remember who they opened for. And I know for a fact that I also saw them with Prong. And around this time, Prong and Pantera were really the only groove metal bands, that had that sound and that feel. And people, Prong had fans, but people just weren't really getting it. There was something about the way Pantera delivered their groove metal, their brand of groove metal. They transcended groove metal and made it very, very accessible. Deep down, I always liked Prong more than Pantera, but looking back on their history and what they've done, Pantera was definitely a little bit more together. And but not to take anything away from Prong, because like I said, I loved Prong too. Saw them a couple of times. But anyway, this was my first, this is the ticket stub that I have, and this was April 24th, 1991, actually. Wow. So I'm certain that I saw Pantera in 1990, and that was with Prong. This particular show, they were opening up for a band called Wrathchild America, which was known for really mixing up styles and delivering it through metal, like running it through metal, but giving you a variety of, just kind of keeping you interested and not letting you get bored with the same old riffs and tempos and all that kind of stuff. When I saw them play this small show, they were opening up for somebody. Someone ran onto the stage and stole Phil Anselmo's shirt, which I thought was bizarre, but I remember him running out into the audience. He was very angry. They stopped playing. He ran out, a few other guys who were out in the audience. This guy actually ran past me and bumped into me as he was running by, and a few other fans, and they grabbed the guy and held him, and Phil got the shirt from him, and I don't know if Phil hit him, but some other guys definitely hit this guy because it was just a really stupid, boneheaded thing to do. And he gets up back on the stage, and they're in the middle of cemetery gates, and they go back to playing it. And I remember he said, anytime, any place. He challenged a guy to a fight, which I didn't really understand that. But anyway, the show was awesome. They were great. This last time that I saw them, this was almost a year, so it was about 10 months before the release of Vulgar Display of Power. So they weren't really playing those songs. Basically, they were playing Cowboys from Hell stuff. But it was a lot of fun to see them live. They were very energetic, and the pits were great. And from there, I got Far Beyond Driven when it came out. And, I continued to listen to this band heavily, but somewhere around, I think it was the Great Southern Trendkill, I sort of lost touch with this band. I remember someone was doing an interview, and I believe it was on MTV of all places, but they asked them, these other bands like Metallica, and they named some other bands, when they get some mainstream success, they become a little bit lighter and not as heavy. And I remember Phil answering that question and saying, never, we will never lose our integrity. We're going to get heavier and heavier. I just kind of laughed because I'm like, how much heavier can these guys get? And they got heavier. And like I said, they got so heavy that there was just this era of heaviness that I just couldn't really keep up with. And there were just other bands that I could listen to them for a little bit, but I just couldn't hang on. It was like trying to hang on to a bull, bands like Deicide and you name it. It was just super heavy, and it was too heavy for me. So I kind of lost touch with the band. I never got to see them again. I saw them 2 times in very small, or rather relatively small venues. And I was very impressed with them, and I thought they were a great band. I had nothing negative to say about them. I wore Vulgar Display of Power out. I have listened to that album so many times, it's just ridiculous. Cowboys from Hell's great. It's got some great stuff on it. It's a transitional record, so, there's some things that Phil's doing with the vocals that he definitely was not doing any more by the time they released Vulgar Display of Power. But anyway, several years later, as I was working out, you know, I have a variety. I just put it on shuffle. Anything can come up on my iPod. Well, what is really weird, I haven't told many people about this, but the song Message in Blood off Cowboys from Hell came up on my iPod. And not even 2 to 3 hours later, I got a phone call from a close friend of mine who has mutual friends with Pantera and knows people that are in that circle. She was in that circle, and she had told me what happened to Daryl, and I was just shocked. Like, it was super shocking to me that could happen to somebody while they're on stage. From that moment on, I don't think I've ever been able to go to a show and not think about Pantera and what happened to Daryl Abbott. After that happened, from that moment on, I never felt like being at a show would be a safe environment. And I always felt that way before. Yeah, there have been some moments, there have been some really nasty pits, and, you know, where people have gotten hurt really bad, and that's terrible too. But for you to not be able to perform your music without thinking that, hey, you know what, I could be up here performing and someone could shoot me and kill me, that was a pretty heavy moment in rock history to have that happen. So, in music history. So I just really, for a long time, that really bothered me. Now, as far as this reunion, I just want to get to my thoughts about the reunion and wrap it up. When I first heard about the reunion, I'm just going to tell you, I thought this is ridiculous. And it's not the people who are taking part who are going to take the Abbott brothers' places in this. I don't have a problem with who they selected. I really can't think of another guitarist who could do those, who could just play that stuff. I think they picked the right guy. You know, a few years back, I saw Zakk Wylde at a Generation Axe event, and he really stole the show. I mean, he was, I'll show some clips here. I mean, it was really cool. There are a lot of drummers out there, a lot of great drummers, and I think Charlie Benante, I think he was also a great choice. Initially, I was thinking it's probably going to be Gene Hoglan, but it wasn't. I know that Charlie Benante is going to be able to do that stuff because I've seen some live videos of Anthrax playing Cowboys from Hell and some other stuff at the beginning of their sets. And so I know he's up to the challenge or up to the task. I know he can handle it. But like I said, there's no diss on him. I just, you know, when I heard that they were going to do this reunion and I was thinking about who was going to fill those shoes, I wasn't surprised when I heard Zakk Wylde would do it. Some people don't like that. But like I said, I can't think of a better person. We all know that Zakk Wylde was super tight with Daryl. But yeah, Gene Hoglan, man, that guy, if you don't know anything about Gene Hoglan and what he's done and what his contributions to the metal community, you should look him up. He's hands down, I would say Gene Hoglan and Steve DiGiorgio they're one of the greatest metal rhythm sections of all time. And they're terribly, terribly underrated. But other than that, I'm just curious of what your thoughts are. I mean, do you think that this reunion is pointless, or are you excited about it? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of you who didn't get the chance to see Pantera back in the 90s and, before they broke up. I mean, are you excited about this show, or do you think that this is pointless for them to have this concert or this reunion tour when it's not really totally and completely Pantera? And I say that with all respect to everyone involved. I just feel like those two guys, the Abbott brothers they were the heart of Pantera. They were Pantera. And it would almost be like if they were doing that Van Halen reunion, which I've been hearing about, but if they did it without Alex, it's already awkward enough that people are going to have to fill Eddie's shoes. But, you wouldn't do a Van Halen reunion where it's like David Lee Roth and Michael Anthony and then two other guys doing the drums and the guitar. It wouldn't work out. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I'm a little bit interested to actually see the show. Who knows? I may go. I may attend this show and check it out. So I'm in no way bad-mouthing surviving members of Pantera or the guys who are going to fill the Abbott brothers' shoes. I'm not saying that right, but you know what I mean. But we'll see what happens. I mean, 2023 is going to be an interesting year for a lot of reasons, not just with music, but just with what's going on, the state of the world and everything else that's happening. And, there's just so much crazy stuff going on. 2023, we are really going to need music, and we're going to need good music. So I'm interested to check this out. Please, once again, let me know what your thoughts are below. I'll have another video out to you soon. Thanks a lot.